Offensive ability, OA, and defensive ability, DA, in Grim Dawn I find are not really talked about that much unless you really want to get under the hood of the game. It is featured as a statistic on the first tab of the character screen, so it's got to be important, but even after researching for this video to make sure I'm accurate in what I'm conveying, the internet seems to be a bit confused on actually how important they are. Reading the Grim Dawn official guide, it states that they are both critical for your ability to deal damage and in your own survival. But what exactly does that mean and what do they achieve? Both OA and DA are part of the same equation as is on screen now, and both are used to calculate probability to hit, or PTH. To oversimplify, the greater the OA, the greater chance an attack lands a hit, and if that hit becomes a critical hit. The greater the DA, the less likely an attack will hit, and if that hit is a critical one or not. I feel it is important to note that the majority of information within this video has come from the Grim Dawn guide directly and not from any third-party sources. It appears that the values are slightly different depending where you look online, who you ask, how old the values are, etc. The important information to take away from this video is that there are thresholds for PTH that when passed will increase your damage output by allowing you to hit more and by doing greater critical hits. PTH cannot fall below 60, so even with the highest possible DA in the game, your character and enemies still have a 60% chance to hit as a minimum. PTH between 60 and 69 will deal reduced damage, as PTH of 70 is where, for want of a better expression, normal damage begins. PTH between 70 and 89 deals normal damage with no critical hit multiplier applied. This is also called PTH threshold 1. PTH threshold 2 is between 90 and 104, and you will start to see critical hits here of a multiplier of 1.1 times damage. PTH threshold 3 is between 105 and 119, with potential critical hits as a multiplier of 1.2 times damage. PTH threshold 4 is between 120 and 129 for a multiplier of 1.3. PTH threshold 5 is between 130 and 134 with a multiplier of 1.4, and PTH threshold 6 starts at 135 with a multiplier of 1.5. Raising your PTH above threshold 6 does not actually incur a higher multiplier, but you will have a higher chance of landing critical hits. It is worth mentioning that if your PTH is for example 80, you will miss if the PTH calculation comes out at 81 to 100. Above 100 you will no longer miss. It is worth remembering that this calculation comes into play before the calculation of damage itself, so even if you get hit a lot as a melee character, you will take less damage when hit due to other factors such as resistances and armor. The only calculations prior to this one is fumble, dodge and projectile deflection. So how important is OA and DA? Honestly, when leveling through normal, not a lot in my opinion. When you reach elite and normal though and start to define your character further, I would say that you want to give them some attention. At endgame, when you're working out how to get the most from your character, it should be something you spend time on. That said, I have actually seen builds work rather well with lower OA and DA than you would actually expect, and some builds fail with far higher OA and DA, and that is simply down to the fact that this is one part of a larger equation of how to win at Grim Dawn. So there it is, OA and DA. Did you learn much from this video? Let me know in the comments below. If you did like this video, please press the like button. Of course, if you didn't like it, hit the dislike button too, as it all helps me understand how to better my content. As always, thank you for your time and stay safe everyone.